Welcome back to Bespoke Addict. I spent really quite some time selecting the skins. If you've seen the previous video, you'd have seen me with the whole sort of hides. And this is a top and the bottom to make a replica handle. So this handle, it looks okay, but it's not going to survive. It's going to fall apart. So I'm going to use, this is vintage skin. I don't know how old it is, but it's never been used before. And that's actually the inner part of the front and rear legs. The scales are small and the flex in all different directions, but it is quite thick. So that'll make, a very good new handle. Now, coming back to everything else, all of the straps, one of them's got red rot, this one's falling apart. Everything's in bad condition, as you'd expect. So I've just decided to replace the whole lot. There's no point in, I could reinforce these from behind, but they're still quite fragile, So whilst I'm taking the bag apart, I'm just going to replace. So I've been through, and I've got a lot of skins here. There's loads. This one's got enormous scales, but simply too big for my use. That would, I don't know. It's a part of a suitcase, I think, and it's thick, but the scales are too big. It's a lovely skin. And it would have matched colour-wise, texture-wise, but they're simply too big. So that one's out. This one's too horny. It's hornback, and it's alligator, not crocodile. So let's have a look. Is that? Yeah, this one's crocodile. That's alligator, but it's hornback. So once again, discarded straight away. This is absolutely lovely skin, really lovely. I mean, fantastic condition. Very tempted, but it's too thin. The scales are in lovely shape. They're in good condition. It's crocodile, not alligator. Everything's right. The colour's right, but it's just simply too thin. It's only about half the thickness. That just, when it's folded over, it would tear apart. So even though that one's a lovely match, it's simply not robust enough. Similarly to this, it's just too thin. What else have we got? Then we've got another one here. This one's way too thick, too lumpy. It's crocodile, and then I've got the other side. This was just a lady's bag, which is a lovely skin, but not very well made. And so I've dismantled it. Now, these two pieces of skin, this is probably just a bit too horny. Not quite right, but this is good. The colour match is not great, but the scale, size, shape, the skin thickness is pretty much what I'm looking for. So what I'll do, I'll sort of remove some of the colour. When I've assembled the bag, I'll remove some of the colour, and I'll just do that with alcohol. You can take a little bit of the colour out, make the skin quite thirsty, and I'll feed it with a coloured moisturiser. And I'll colour the whole bag, and I'll make this donor skin match. Because the bag is it's darker like this. This is just a little bit too pale. But, by making the skin thirsty, deliberately stripping the skin with alcohol, it will make the skin thirsty and it will take on the colour pigment. So I'm not too worried about making the colour match. I'm more worried about having a skin that's flexible enough, because of course these have got to bend all the way around. Look, there's one. It's got to bend all the way around 180 degrees. So I'm expecting this skin to bend. The other thing is, we need small scales, as I've said on some of the scales are simply too big. This has got lots of small scales, so we need something which is a similar sort of texture, which should be okay. I'll just have to sort of turn it around, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make excuse me, the next door neighbour's drilling as well, so you can probably hear that booming in the background. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure there's two new straps, buckle holders, just about enough skin, if I'm careful, and yeah, just about. But it'll probably take me at least an hour to go through and decide. I need new, these are the loops to hold the straps when the straps go in. and they're a bit frail. So I'll just do the whole lot. And this once again, it's a nice bit of skin. In fact, that was a handle off an old bag. It's been stitched along here, so it would open out, but it's too fragile for my purposes, so that's discarded. Even though it'd be quite difficult to work with due to the thickness, I'm pretty sure this will be okay. And I will almost definitely line the back of this old skin with chamois, which is very, very thin. You won't notice there, but it will stabilise it. You know, should the new skin in the future start to crack, a bit like this is, look, it's started to split. But there's nothing to glue onto in there. But if that's glued onto a chamois leather, if it starts to split in the future, if, you know, let's have a look. So like if something like this were to happen, I'd be able to fish on a chopstick or a screwdriver, a bit of adhesive, and glue it back down. Because what you don't want to be doing is gluing to the lining. The lining isn't really supposed to be glued down, but you know, if the dress skin itself has got a backing, when the inevitable happens and cracks appear, look, there's a crack starting to appear there, and that will get worse along that line, and I'll be able to push some glue through, stick it down, and you've got something to stick to. But I'm pretty sure overall this is a good match, and I just need to, and I'll have to dampen the skin to make it lie, because it's all bent and I want it to lie completely flat. So I'll dampen it, let it dry, and then I'll sort of, you can't mark out why it's all bent. I need it to be lying flat. But I'm pretty convinced I've got a good match here, and we've got just enough skin just to sort of make everything I need. So these will all be replicas in vintage skin, but unused skin. It should be, it'll take a lot of time, but it'll make a perfect and a permanent repair.